Greetings and welcome to this week's True Sidereal Astrological Weather Forecast, where we are using the authentic positions of the luminaries and etheric bodies as they are in the visible sky, moving through the constellations known as the zodiac. If you're thinking, hey, isn't that just what astrology is in general? You are mistaken. Tropical astrology, the one that most people are familiar with, has nothing to do with the stars, folks. It is a symbolic construct affixed to a sky that was current 2,000 years ago. So, if you're looking to harness the authentic energies of the luminaries and etheric bodies as they are in real time, capturing the celestial cycles for your evolution as a spiritual and material being, stay tuned. This week, we have the first quarter moon. So, we're moving away from the new moon that was last week. This is when we have things starting to come into manifestation. We're applying the insights and the intentions from the new moon. We're moving forward with a bit more energy. So that is the primary focus of the week. We do also have a few sign changes this week. So why don't we do our little rundown and then we'll get into the specific aspects and transits for the week. So we can see here we still have quite a lot of action going on in Taurus, the bull. Okay, the sun is right on the head here, so we've got a few degrees left here. Taurus has 37 degrees. It takes the sun about 1 degree-ish per day to move through the constellations along the line of the ecliptic. So you can see here, this is what differentiates this lens of astrology from Vedic as well, if you're curious or new here. So like Aries, for example, quite small, 18 degrees. Okay. Taurus, on the other hand, quite large, 37. Okay. It's not 30 for each one. That is based on a system designed around a clock and a calendar designed to ensnare humanity in the lower cycles of the earth of production and consumption so they could tax us and connect our productivity to our value. So, anywho. The sun is still in Taurus, okay? It's not in Gemini. It won't be for a little bit. We also have Uranus, the planet of innovation, freedom, shaking things up. And we are just moving out of the energy of the Kazemi. So the Kazemi is just a word for when the sun is with any other luminary or etheric body on the line of the ecliptic. So Mercury just finishing up Taurus. Mercury will be moving into Gemini at the end of the week around Sunday. And same with Jupiter. So Jupiter is a little bit ahead of time. Jupiter moves slower, though. Obviously, it's an outer planet. Okay, so we can see it's getting close there. Now, this specific lens started by mastering the zodiac.com. Athen Chimenti's lens of astrology uses a midpoint system. So it's the point between the constellations where the energy officially changes. Although in the in between, it's a little bit of both. So right now, Jupiter is kind of in Taurus, kind of in Gemini. So it'll be officially in Gemini a little bit before Mercury, so around Friday or so. And it'll be in Gemini for about a year. Okay, so Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, good luck, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is moving into Gemini, which is that mutable air. So knowledge, information, curiosity, being able to see things from different perspectives. So beautiful timing for me to be launching my mystery school, which is all about shifting your perspective, opening yourself up to a new paradigm, releasing yourself from the old ways of thinking, releasing yourself from thinking you know anything at all. Honestly, I feel like is going to be the theme of Jupiter moving into Gemini for the next year. Is really expanding those flexible thought patterns and different paradigms. Now, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So when it moves into this sign at the end of the week, we're going to have kind of a double whammy of this curiosity, this mental energy, this curiosity, this thinking about things differently. Moving down the line of the ecliptic here, the other things of note, it's kind of hard to see them when they're on the horizon here, but Mars is at the edge of Leo here. It was in Cancer. It moved into Leo recently. So we can see the constellation of Leo here is another big one. The Lion, okay, today the moon is in Leo. We'll be in Leo today and tomorrow. And then it's going to be moving into Virgo. And then for the rest of the week, because we can see here, Virgo is quite large. Okay, so this is really like the bulk of what's going on right now. We do have some stuff going, like planets still in Pisces over here, going backwards on the line here. So we still have Venus in Pisces. It's going to be moving into Aries. So another sign change again at the end of the week. So it's just finishing up the tail end of the fishies here. Venus is the planet of love, how we love, what we love, who we love, our values around relationships and finances also. Okay. So moving into Aries is going to be bringing this energy of valuing yourself, valuing confidence, valuing action, taking inspired action based on what you value, and action from a more heart-centered way of being. And then we also have Saturn and Neptune getting pretty close here. You can see this conjunction's getting pretty tight. Also in Pisces, Saturn is Capricorn energy. It is the builders, that cardinal earth. It is the dad of the zodiac, the dad of the planets, right? So it is like the physical world. It is rules, regulations, limitations. And Neptune is intangibility, spirituality, the void, the feminine. So this is like masculine and feminine energy coming together in Pisces, which is the depths of our emotional experience. It is mutable water, it is spirituality, it's what's hidden, what's underneath. Okay, so this energy has been going on for a while and will continue to be in this way because they're both slow movers. Okay, this is bringing seriousness to our spirituality, devotion over discipline, building structures to help you live a more magical life. And then finally, we have Pluto down here in Capricorn. That's right, not in Aquarius. Okay, and Pluto is still in retrograde. So just reconsidering how the systems in your life that were built around the patriarchy, this hustle and grind mentality, this needing to work to live, this having to put your attention outside of yourself in a survivalistic, like othering kind of perspective. All of this is coming to an end as Pluto will be moving through Capricorn for the next 18 years, dismantling the systems, the overculture, and the patriarchy, which have been disadvantaging all of humanity, not just women. Okay, men do not thrive in patriarchy either, despite what some feminists might tell you. But that's part of the game. Okay, the inverted society wants us to fight amongst ourselves instead of realizing that the overculture is really what the problem is. Okay. So let's get into the weekly transits. Starting off with the moon, as I mentioned, it is currently in Leo and will be for the remainder of today, Monday and Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, because Virgo is freaking massive, it's going to be there. Okay. So the moon is our emotions, how we feel. It literally acts as a magnet in order to pull things to the surface for us. And as we are in the first quarter moon, so the action phase, applying the insights that came from the intentions and like kind of getting the ball rolling with that new moon. So we're now taking actions on the intentions that we set with the last new moon on May 26th, the new moon in Taurus. So we're moving forward with those intentions and taking action. With the moon being in Leo, it's giving us access to that creativity, that self-expression, that playfulness, that fixed fire, that creation energy, the sun, okay? And the moon is going to move into Virgo, which is that improvement angle, okay? Virgo is that mutable earth. It is the organizer, the perfectionist, right? The calculator, right? So we're going to have kind of this energy of improvement as we are moving forward with taking action on the intentions that we set with the new moon at the end of May. Otherwise, this week, as far as aspects go, or interactions between the planets, a rather light week with some harmonious aspects involving Venus sextiling Jupiter first. So sextiles create openings to connections that can go either way. They're typically harmonious, less harsh than like a square or an opposition. So some harmonious energies, potentials for opening connections between Venus and Jupiter, which is exact on Wednesday. Okay. And so this is both Venus and Jupiter are changing signs this week. So they are going to be having kind of a mashup of energy. So Venus, this energy of Pisces moving into Aries. So moving out of the waters, that deep intangibility, the receptive feminine into the cardinal fire of Aries, the masculine doing energy. Okay, so we're moving out of the void and into a place where we can take action from a more heart-centered way of being. Okay, Venus's transit through Pisces really opened it up to the valuing of the receptivity. But it's not, we can't just we don't get anything done when we're just lost in the sauce all the time, right? It's not this or that. It's not like doing masculine energy is bad. It's just that it's been overemphasized in our current society. Okay, so we do need to do things. We need to take action sometimes. And with Venus moving into Aries, it's going to be giving us this energy of valuing the self, valuing heart centered action. And then sextiling Jupiter, which is just moving into Gemini this week as well. So Jupiter has been in Taurus for a really long time. Okay, it takes like a year and a half for it to go through 30 degrees. So it's been moving through the expansion of the physical world, and now it is moving into the expansion of a new perspective. Okay, being curious about different information, seeking knowledge that is challenging to the status quo, and the expansion of that. So Venus sextiling Jupiter is really bringing new horizons, new heart-centered action, taking action in a new direction based on a totally new set of beliefs and ideas. Thursday, we're going to have another sextile with Mercury sextiling Mars. Okay, Mercury again is another planet that is changing signs this week. It is going to be moving into Gemini on Sunday. So it's kind of that mashup of the Taurus and the Gemini energy, that grounded, fixed Earth into the mutable air of Gemini. Mercury, the planet of transmission and communication. So that sextiling Mars, which is freshly in Leo, is going to give this new perspective to your pleasure. Okay, like thinking differently, being curious about how you can be more creative, how you can express yourself, how you can be more courageous in your self-expression, and how your pleasure actually fuels the whole process. And then on Friday, Mercury is going to be sextiling Chiron, the wounded healer, at the tail end of Pisces, which is another slow mover. Okay, so this mashup or a harmonious opening to connection between Mercury just moving into this place of broadening its horizons and its intellectual capacity of being curious about different perspectives, bringing into this harmonious connection or opening up to a connection with Chiron, which is moving through our wounds around being seen and receiving. Okay, the wounds around our spirituality, essentially. To me, this is giving the idea that like your healing is done. Okay, you don't need to focus or perseverate on the healing journey. In fact, this is a big part of the issue that I have with the New Age community and the spiritual community in a lot of ways, is that it's like the healing is never done. There's always another thing to do, another ceremony, another shadow work, exercise, right? But like, what if you just decided that you're good? What if you decided that you're totally fine no matter what, and like you don't have any more work to do? You can just enjoy your life. What if? What if that? And then finally, as far as aspects this week, on Sunday, we're going to have a conjunction between Mercury's getting a lot of action this week, and Jupiter. Okay, so Mercury and Jupiter both freshly in the edge of Gemini at this point. So it'll be Friday-ish for Jupiter. And then on Sunday, at the same time of this conjunction, Mercury is going to be joining Jupiter in Gemini. So this is giving the bringing together of the masculine and the feminine. So Jupiter is that expansive energy, the feminine aspect of the law of three, and Mercury is the contraction, the mental doing aspect. Okay, so we have this beautiful combination of the contraction and the expansion newly in Gemini, which is flexible thought, being curious about different information. So it really is bringing this energy of new creation, new perspectives, new paradigm, new earth. So yeah, overall this week pretty harmonious, encouraging aspects. Okay, after being through the gauntlet for the last few months, the last few weeks have felt really good to me to move forward, taking action on your new perspectives, opening yourself up to different information, opening yourself up to a new heart-centered way of being, like just being yourself, being in your body, being okay with how you are right now, and understanding that however you're being, that is what you're creating. And one of the best ways to be, especially with this sort of energy, is freaking curious, okay? Just be curious. Don't be so set on knowing anything. And I know as an autistic individual who is a polymath, who has studied these things extensively, I can get caught in rigid thinking and thinking that I know everything or that I know the way. And if honestly, if there's one thing that I know is that I don't know shit. And that one of the things that has led me to the perspective of neutrality that I embody on a day to day basis is this idea that, like, I can change my mind. I mean, I am a Gemini rising, but like having the ability to change your mind and not be stuck in a certain paradigm is the key. Okay. When you get stuck in a paradigm, you limit yourself. Okay. Nobody really knows what's going on here, and it doesn't really even matter. Okay. What matters is being present in your body, being open, and curiosity is going to be your best friend in being able to engage that mode of operation. So if you're curious about this new paradigm and how you can apply this sort of astrology or even any other sort of outside of the box spirituality to your life, I have a free Discord server you can join. I also created a whole ebook on this lens of astrology that's available now, and I'm going to be teaching a live course starting June 16th, a 7-week intensive that isn't intense in an intimidating type of way, so don't be intimidated by it. But essentially, I'm going to be teaching you how to read charts and transits like I do intuitively, so you can cut the middleman out of your energetic weather practice. Okay, so you can learn how to read the stars and the planets just like a weather forecast and apply it to your life in a way that helps you evolve as a celestial being. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, comment, DM me, or check out the link in my bio or the description of this video if you're watching it on YouTube. And if you're still listening to this at this point, thank you so much for being a supporter of my work. I love you, and I will see you in the next one.